Police are monitoring the situation in the Johannesburg CBD after 4 taxis have been set alight and several others are damaged in a clash between rival associations at Wata and Nandue at Carlton Centre in the Johannesburg CBD. It's not the first time that the two associations have been at each other's throats. Gauteng MEC for Public Transport and Roads Infrastructure, Jacob Mamabolo, now joins us to speak to us about the taxi violence. Mr. Mamabolo, good morning. Thank you for speaking to us. What can you tell us about what's transpired this morning?
Well, firstly, good morning to you, to all the viewers, and thanks very much for the opportunity. The information I just received from law enforcement teams on the ground is that there is an outbreak of violence allegedly between Nandu and Wata, and that information is being consolidated and verified. But at this point, we are gathering all the necessary facts to determine the appropriate course of action and what form of intervention is required. But I would like to strongly condemn acts of violence. We have repeatedly said to the taxi industry that they must have a way of resolving whatever grievances, disputes or problems between them. And to that extent, we call on law enforcement to bring the perpetrators of these barbaric acts and for the law to take its full course, calling on the taxi industry to refrain with immediate effect from engaging in acts of violence.
Now, obviously, this message, Mr. Mamabolo, you've sent out before, and it is known not just by us potential passengers, but those in the taxi industry. What are you as a government intending to do to quell this? I mean, it is great that no one was injured. I think there was a single casualty, but it could have been catastrophic.
All forms of violence must be strongly condemned, and it shouldn't take any injury or loss of life for us to strongly condemn it. Violence is just unacceptable, and to that extent, one of the things I did immediately upon hearing of this is to call the provincial leaders of Santago and those of the Gauteng National Taxi Alliance, GNTA, and have requested them for urgent meetings. They've indicated that they will still need to mobilize their teams and get to the facts, but tomorrow starting at 10 o'clock in the morning, we have a series of consultations with parties that are allegedly involved in these disputes and their provincial leaders. Secondly, we are also exploring other solutions that are available to us. We just want to get the facts and conclude consultation, but we will take appropriate action to make sure that we immediately bring this very barbaric, backward and horrendous act to an immediate end, so that we don't have any cars burned, anyone's life put at risk. But at this point, we want to appeal to law enforcement that these are criminal acts, and like any other act of criminality, the law must be swift, prompt, and act without fear, favor, or prejudice, and bring perpetrators to book. That's what criminals, should be met with in terms of the full might of the law, because these are purely criminal acts, and we believe the entire judicial and criminal justice system must prevail over this, the perpetrators and criminals behind this.
Mr. Mamabolo, you may punish the specific individuals that torched the taxis or got into a scuffle, but what if the instruction is from higher up? Surely if there was a penalty or punishment that impacted the the owners of the taxis that hurt their pocket. Would that not in any way deter this violence that we're continuing to see?
Yes, as I said to you, that we have got various options at our disposal, and we just have to, as I said, give careful consideration to each one of them. We have to consult with the taxi associations, particularly the provincial leaders. Whatever measure that we bring in place should finally bring stability and peace. And I'm quite sure that our analysis and consideration, we will make a much more better determination than to act purely on instincts before we have considered all the facts. Whatever we do must not make the situation worse. Our objective is to achieve peace, stability, and secure the lives of everybody. And to that extent, as I'm saying to you, we are definitely going to take the most appropriate action to make sure this doesn't happen again, but also to achieve stability and peace and make sure that we can be able to help commuters go on with their daily lives without their lives being put at risk by acts of criminality.
Now, this route has been previously closed by your predecessor in 2019. On the agenda tomorrow, is this a possibility that you might close this route?
As I said, let me emphasize that I wouldn't want to speculate on what we are going to do and throw different options in the air. But what I can promise you and all the viewers is that tomorrow we will make an announcement on the most appropriate action we are going to take. And we are working with law enforcement right away right now. I had to, leave the program that we were doing to focus on this issue. We do every weekend, as you know, we do smart mobility weekends. We patch pothole, fix roads, vaccination. I had to withdraw out of that to now focus on this issue. And to that extent, I want to say to you and the viewers, instead of us just throwing possible solutions on air, let us be guided by facts and proper information, proper legals, that we do not pour, what could be called things that will cause more flames onto the space. So we will make an appropriate announcement. We want to interact with facts and information, make all legal considerations so that we can maintain peace and stability in the area.
Fair enough, Mr. Mamabolo. Finally, there are some unconfirmed reports that a couple of taxis have been torched in Soweto around similar issues. Has this come to your attention? Are you able to verify this?
I've just when I was coming onto your program, as I was saying, I was in contact with law enforcement. Unconfirmed reports suggest that there were further taxis that were banned, and that's information I was about to verify just when I came online. But again, let us call on the taxi industry to refrain from making the situation worse, but ask law enforcement to be on the alert. And we will verify all the facts, including whether there were any people injured or not. All that information we are gathering, we will make a comprehensive announcement. This thing has just happened, but I'm quite sure that we will brief the people of our province, the residents of Soweto, about the way forward and what is the totality of the picture with respect to what has happened. And we'll also need to engage with the two rival taxi associations to also get just their side of the story. So we'll collect all the data. We'll be monitoring the situation all day, and we will make appropriate updates and announcements on what is going on.
Mr. Jacob Mamabolo, thank you for your time. Gauteng MEC for Public Transport and Roads Infrastructure, speaking to us about the taxi violence that broke out in the Joburg CBD. And he's unable to confirm if indeed two taxis have been torched in Soweto. But that is a developing story.